What does California being too soft and the Vikings have to do with my 5 life lessons from 2023? Tune in and find out. So, 2023, what a year. What an interesting year. A year of mixed aspiration, of mixed success and many, many lessons. And lots of networking and lots of having fun, which is important. But I want to deliver to you what I like to see in content, and that's pure value. So I'm going to give you my 5 life lessons. And these are quite wide, quite all-encompassing from 2023. The first one, social media is so important now more than ever. And by the way, I'll say that sentence every single year for the next 5 years, 10 years, and I've said it for the last 5 years. The impact that social media has on us in a political, in a worldview, in a cultural, in a business, in a learning, in a fake, in an authentic way is crazy. Oftentimes, it's the only real way we get real, authentic, accurate news and on-the-ground reports from things that are happening. It's not the Western, agendaed, biased, racist, sexist, structural, news outlets that we get news from. Nowadays, a lot of us get it crazily from TikTok or from Instagram or from people who are on the ground experiencing it, seeing it with our own eyes in videos. So there's that element of it which makes it so important. However, Meta, Facebook, Instagram, etc., Elon Musk, they are censoring, and they're censoring with structural biases in place, discrimination biases, prejudice biases. I can prove it, right? If you can't see it, you're part of the problem. And so it matters even more so that we have freedom of speech, and where do we cut the hatefulness off, and who decides what's what? And social media is so powerful for that, right? But that's a thought for you, right? But I think the context of this video is more kind of the lessons from it. And one of the biggest lessons is that it is very easy to fake it. The amount of people on social media, and I spoke about this last year and the year before and the year before, and I'll speak about it next year. It is so easy to fake it, to rent a car, to live this lifestyle, to be doing something dodgy but claiming it's property or M&A or you're a watch seller when actually the money's coming from something a little bit dirtier than that. It's very easy to do that. And what blows my mind is what blows my mind is when I see people I know or intelligent people falling for this stuff, I'm not intelligent anymore, is that people fall for it. Of all types of people, of all intelligence, income, upbringing levels, everyone falls for this. And it just shows you how powerful and effective sales and marketing and branding can be when it's done in that way. Do you see what I mean? And for you as a business owner, you have a decision to make. Do you lie and do fraud and do all this stuff because you'll probably make more money? Sorry, I say every year, the truth is you will make more money. Crime pays. Unfortunately, that's why people do it and get away with it and keep doing it. You going to be ethical, or are you going to go that way? Are you, and more, even before that, are you going to use social media? We're in a group full of people who are buying businesses, about 120 of us. And every single business that gets bought, pretty much most of them has a terrible website, terrible brand. The whole thing needs redoing, right? But how many people will actually do it? Because it's a very measurable, because you've got statistics, you can retarget. It's the most powerful way nowadays to make money is through your brand, your marketing, and social media. And therefore, social media is more important than ever because it's one of the core pillars of your business. And if it isn't, it should be. There are certain industries and sectors and types where actually not necessarily worth it to kind of, constantly update it and have it super there. But there are very many, and there's a majority of industries where you should have it active. You should. And I can show you how to do that. And the internet can show you how to do that. You follow brands like this, so it works. It clearly works. And so in 2024, social media is the name of the game. In my opinion, you have to be on it. You want to raise money for your property deals, you need to be on it. A cool part of my e-learning is using social media to raise money, right? You have to do it. You want to sell your product, you want to demonstrate that you're better than your competitors, you want to show the science behind your new moisturizer, you want to show behind the scenes, you want to get people to work for you and show your company culture. You flying a plane up there with a note on it, will you marry me, about your company culture? No, you're not. You're on social media. So all the people who say, oh, I don't want to do it, real G's move in silence. Okay, cool. You keep doing that. But I just don't care enough to convince you anymore. It's just been too long. If you can't see how important social media is, get on it. Spend time exposed to it. Let it with your dopamine like it has with all of us. Let it show you the impact it has on everything. So the next thing is the Vikings. I watch lots of Viking shows on Netflix, and I'm watching a barbarian one, and I love them. So good. And it's fascinating. The culture, the warriors, the farming, the exploration, the boat building. And actually, what's even more fascinating, before Christianity came and stamped it all out and forced everyone to convert, is the mythology, they call it now, even though it was a religion, of the Norse mythology. which was also in Germany, I think, in Germany and other countries. You know, Odin, Thor. It's so fascinating, you know, Valhalla, the Valkyries. Apart from that, my point from this is that back in those days, 800 AD, 100 AD, back in those days, people would always snake each other. People would always want power. They'd always want to be the king of Norway, the king of their area. You know, they'd only get married if they were a king or a jarl, an earl, and they could prove to the woman that they were of this power. People were only respected if they'd been in battle and done all these things. And it was all about having a name for yourself and a brand, is what you call that, and having a reputation, right? And having status and power. And people would do all sorts of stuff, right, to get this. Now, are we any different in 2024? No, we're not. We're absolutely not. And what this just shows you is that as humanity, there's a constant struggle for external validation and external validation of power. People feel that they need to be powerful for others. They need to be judged as powerful by others, just like the people of Vikings did, just like the English kings did. It was all about status. Now, nowadays, of course, it's not about how many battles you're in and how big your chimney or your sword is. It's how many followers you got, what car you driving, or is that the latest, clothes you're wearing? Is that, oh, okay, what, those shoes you wore them twice? That's what it's about. It's become this materialistic, hedonistic treadmill of trying to buy better and impress people who don't give a shit about you, frankly, and you shouldn't give a shit about them. Why? It's this status and power. And the lesson from this is that as humanity, as people, why do I need you to make me powerful? Am I not powerful in my own right? Am I not powerful within myself? Do I not have power over myself? Do I not have agency over myself? Is one human not enough? You know how complex the human body is. You got power over like trillions of cells. Or some of them have power over you when you look at the gut microbiome. But anyways, there's too much stunting, let's call it. There's too much fronting. There's too much, I need you to make me feel powerful. And until I have that, I'm going to spend money, waste money, do all sorts of stupid shit like people do on YouTube for views, just for accolades. I'm going to post all sorts of pictures, do all sorts of things to just get that external validation that I have power over people. People follow me, literally follow me. People are my fans. Why do we need that? There's a really interesting story, I think it was in a Stephen Pressfield book or documentary book, whatever called. Alexander the Great, right? The great conqueror from Macedonia, I believe. He invaded, took over half the bloody world, right? He was crossing a river or something with his gang, yeah? With his boys. Looking all regal and everything, yeah? And this philosopher, little, man in like a little tunic, whatever, was just, and he was kind of in the way. I was thinking, oh, come on, mate, out of the way, geezer. So one of Alexander the Great's men goes up to the philosopher and he says, excuse me. That's how they talk back in the day in Latin, ancient Greek, whatever they were speaking. And says, excuse me, do you know who this is? Do you know who that is? And the philosopher says something along the lines of, oh, he looks like he must be really important or something. Or I just see a man. Anyways, and he goes, oh, this is Alexander the Great. He has conquered the world. What have you done? And the philosopher replies, not in a cocky way, but just says, Alexander the Great has conquered the world, but I've conquered my need to conquer the world. Think about that. Let that sit. Let that marinate like a little peri-peri chicken or peri-peri soya over-processed vegan bite thing. He has conquered his need to conquer the world. He doesn't need power. He doesn't need fame. He doesn't need all this shit. He just needs himself to be at peace and to be loved and to have friends and enjoy life and whatever. But he has conquered his need to conquer the world. Why do we need to conquer the world, sorry? Are we not a universe within ourselves? So one of the lessons, and this continues with certain countries in the world currently, behaving with genocidal and colonial intent, and not even intent, just the way they're doing things, this still exists. Look at the US. Lord, look at the US. This still exists. And then it exists on a micro scale between you and me, between us. But as Black Eyed Peas said, where is the love? Now, my third thing is about the process. Love the process, as Gary Vee says. If you're going to achieve something, the outcome is great. And oftentimes the chasing is more fun than the outcome. Oftentimes the getting, putting in the work at the gym is a lot more fun than being like, oh, I'm hench now, I'm sexy. The building that business, the making all those calls, that part, when you look back on it, often is probably the most fun and memorable, not the reward or what you got from it. And you have to love the process. Now, this is probably a life lesson for however many years. But if you don't love the process, right, you don't love the steps, the ladder, the way you're going to get to that success and that outcome, you're just not going to get there. And it's not going to be as fulfilling. Now, look, it doesn't mean you love everything. You're going to outsource things. Of course you are. I don't like doing accounts, outsource it. My VAT returns, outsource. Payroll, outsource. I don't love that part of the process, but I love the process on a macro scale. And I love most of the elements on a micro scale. And the ones I don't, I outsource. Pay someone else to do, right? Because I can. And you will be able to at some point too if you're watching this as a beginner. But you have to love the process. If you need to make 100 calls every week in order to make 5 sales, right? At the start, you've got 0 sales. You probably make 300 calls and make 2 sales. Over time, as more sales come in, as you understand and you realize what's going on and you're aware and you're actually making progress, things will be a bit different. You'll see that actually, yeah, if I do make those calls, I do get that. And it becomes easier over time, but you have to love that process. You have to go through every single thing step by step. If you're a video editor and you're reaching out to people for business, I get so many people DMing me and it's so bad. Where's your portfolio? Oh, okay, you haven't really got one. Okay, why are you reaching out to me then? You haven't got your prices set. Oh, why are you reaching out to me? You don't even know why are you reaching out to me? There's so many steps that are missing from these people who just don't love the process. You just want to skip to the end result. Not how it works, Unfortunately, we can't really skip anything and things take time. So you have to love the process. And if you don't, maybe you need to be in a different industry. Maybe being a self-employed entrepreneur isn't for you. But without this process, and you may have to almost force yourself to love it. It might be a case of I know what is coming from this, so I need to do it, because are people going to enjoy making 100 calls a week? No, they're not. But if you can reach that state of bliss, of almost like a kind of blind faith, a kind of blind just contentment of I'm doing it, I know what comes, it's great, and I'm doing it, and this is how it happens, and you'll be in a lot of a better place. My 4th point, you're not too soft, man. Too many people do something for a week, for a month, and they give up. They want a guarantee with some mentorship. They want a 100% money back guarantee that they'll buy 20 properties in their first year. But they're idiots who won't even work more than a couple hours a day, and they want guarantees. Shut your mouth, man. Shut your mouth. Because people are too soft in many ways, in terms of what you can say to people and how people behave and any little excuse and running off, and you have to give something a proper try. You have to really do it, and you have to fail at it, and you have to have help, support and guidance. You have to see people like you, representation, doing it, killing it at that level for you to then say, okay, I think I can do that. I see that. That kind of makes sense. They got my background. They're from the same place. Yeah, I get it. But then you still have to go through it alongside that, right? Alongside having role models, you have to put the work in. And people say to me, Tej, I haven't had any offers accepted. I read your book. And I'm like, okay, how many viewings you done? Oh, I don't know. I think 6. You think 6. My book says do 50 first, then you can send me a DM. Bye. There's a certain level of work for anything and everything that you just have to do. It's kind of as simple as that. The point is kind of over. If you're not putting in a minimum amount of work, if you're not facing hardships, if you're not getting rejected every flipping other time, you're not doing something right, are you? Especially if you have a resource, some learning, a mentor, a book, whatever, that says these are the numbers you're probably going to hit, or this is how my first 3 months were as a personal trainer. Don't complain. Just get on with it. And if you're really struggling, then it'll be a point where when you say to someone, I'm struggling, I've done X many calls, it should be a shit ton of calls. It should be a massive amount of effort or work that's gone into that. It shouldn't be, oh, I've done a couple and I want some help. Don't be so entitled. You're entitled to help yourself first. Yeah. So don't be so soft, people. And the last one, California. So I went to Corsica this year, did another Italian road trip. I went to California for 2 weeks and I drove, 2,500 miles? Crazy. I ate a lot of Mexican food, I love it. And a lot of pizza. And I've been somewhere else, I can't remember where, somewhere else earlier in the year. Oh, we went to Edinburgh as well. Prague, I think was last year as well. I love traveling. I travel often. Now I fly in business class everywhere I can. Lifestyle inflation, huh? I love traveling. I love experiencing new hotels, new nice bougie hotels. I love experiencing new places, new cultures, new foods, new languages, new ways of being, new weather. Jesus, let me not show you outside the weather today. You see the teardrops of the Norse gods coming down on us. Travel is so important. It's so important, especially because we live in England, from London, a place that's such a melting pot of food, of culture, of language, of religion, of everything. The world is such a beautiful place, and variety is the spice of life. And some of you, your chicken needs a little seasoning. So get out there, explore, right? Because the world is such a magnificent place that it just broadens your horizons. It just shows you what's out there. It shows you where you might want to live in the future. It just gives you a different experience, and it also tests your businesses. Can they run without you? Can they run while you're away? Can they run at a distance? These are important things to look at as well. But the beauty in traveling and traveling in comfort makes a massive difference. We're entrepreneurs, we're lonely, we're at home in the same office doing, similar things every day. You really need a break. And if you're traveling the world with someone you love, a partner, family, kids, whatever, it's just that much sweeter. So So my biggest lesson is to keep on traveling. This year I'm going to Miami in about a month. My friend Nana Stag, Swedish property investor, it's on Instagram, Miracle Properties. I'm then going to Barcelona in Mayo for my friend Terry Timber Stag, and that's going to be insane because he can dance and all his boys can dance, and it's just going to be crazy. And then got a few other places that I am looking forward to going. So people, make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, etc. And keep traveling, people. Keep traveling.